Straight ahead on WBKB News at 11.
An Iosco County mother was arrested yesterday on charges of involuntary manslaughter.
Plus, the wait is finally over as the Sheriff's Department finally received their new Coast Guard boat.
And Iosco County's ban on baiting white-tailed deer has been lifted.
We'll have those stories plus your local weather and sports.
WBKB News at 11 starts now.
From Rogers City to Tawas City and all points in between, this is Northeast Michigan's award-winning news team. Your source for news, weather, and sports. We are WBKB News at 11.
An Iosco County mother is in prison after Michigan State Police arrested the woman for allegedly playing a role in her daughter's death. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Idaluca.
And I'm Ashley Reed. 26-year-old Heather Host was arrested Wednesday and charged with multiple different counts that, if convicted, could sentence her to life in prison. Police say charges stem from the death of her 5-month-old daughter from an incident that occurred on April 23rd of this year at Host's home in Grant Township in Iosco County.
She's being charged with involuntary manslaughter, which carries a penalty up to 15 years in prison. Charge of first-degree child abuse, which carries a penalty of life for as many term of years. And the charge of making a false or misleading statements.
If convicted of lying to an officer, Host would serve up to 4 years in prison and have to pay a fine of up to $5,000. No details about the death of the daughter are being released at this time as the investigation is still ongoing. Host was arraigned in the 81st District Court in Iosco County on Wednesday and will be back in court next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
And with the help of community support and donations, the Alpena Sheriff's Department has officially received their new Coast Guard boat. After months of anticipation, the $170,000 boat will now call Alpena home. The Coast Guard boat was originally available through the federal government surplus program, but required the department to pay close to $13,900 for service fees. Despite Sheriff Kalashevsky's attempt to get the fee removed, local businesses and community members joined together to raise the needed funds. The boat is currently being repainted and decaled with the Sheriff's Department logos.
Last month, we shared a story with you about a local teacher who would be receiving an ING Unsung Hero Award for his outstanding teaching program. And today, Bob Thompson accepted that award during an assembly at Ella White Elementary. Thompson was presented with a special plaque and a $2,000 grant. The grant will go towards his most recent project with the students called the Rusty Raiders.
Mr. Thompson was selected because of his project, the Rusty Raiders project, which is working in conjunction with the Thunder Bay River Watershed project that he's grown over the years. Speaking with him this morning for half an hour, learned a lot about his project. I think it's more than what we really realized.
Birch says he hopes that the grant not only helps Thompson to fund his project, but also gives him recognition in the community so he can attract additional grants. These grants would go towards the Rusty Raiders so kids can continue to learn from the project.
And WBKB 11 meteorologist Adam Claybon's here for our first look at weather. Adam?
Well, good evening, ladies. As we go ahead and look at what's happening currently outside, temperatures are falling off. We're still in the 50s, but they'll fall off even more throughout the night. We're expecting to get into the lower 30s, but northwest winds are at 18 miles per hour. Those should begin to die off, and just a few clouds, they'll push out of here fairly quickly. Right now, though, as we look across the nation, 61 degrees in Minneapolis, 65 in Chicago. The cool air is slowly but surely draining its way farther on towards the south. We are expecting to be very, very chilly throughout the overnight hours, and there are some frost advisories as well as freeze warnings in effect for us, and I'll show you that in your main segment, but no rain to speak of right now. All of that has moved out of the way after this morning, and we'll continue to see the clear skies not only tonight but also for tomorrow. Frost advisories, as I just mentioned, are in effect. A slight warm-up for tomorrow, and then even more of the clouds and the rain showers by Sunday's forecast. But next week, are we expecting another system to come through and give us even cooler air? Well, I have your complete details as well as your full forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks, Adam. A ban was lifted yesterday in Iosco County, which prevented the baiting of white-tailed deer. The ban was lifted after Iosco County was declared tuberculosis-free by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The ban had been in effect for quite some time due to a discovery of bovine tuberculosis in white-tailed deer in the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula. This has been a worldwide problem caused from deer sustaining infection from cattle.
We have been trying to eradicate or at least manage tuberculosis in deer for the last couple of decades, in fact. And the reason for that is less that it presents a health hazard to humans than it presents a hazard to livestock producers in the Northeast Lower Peninsula.
The Michigan Natural Resources Commission overturned the ban after Michigan's Department of Natural Resources explained their intentions. Mason says people's overall hunting experience satisfaction in Iosco County will improve. There are still baiting bans in Alcona, Alpena, Montmorency, and Oscoda counties.
The Hillman School District is one step closer to finding their new superintendent after Sean Olson, elementary school principal, recently resigned from her superintendent position this June. The district has been looking to fill the spot, and 25 candidates all turned in their applications to the Board of Education. And interim superintendent Tom Harmon then narrowed it down to 8 candidates. Now, after more deliberation, it's finally down to 3 candidates. The board is looking for the one that they feel will work best to keep improving the Hillman district.
The board is very interested in always improving student learning opportunities. They also would like to see a very visible superintendent in the community, someone who can lead the district in curriculum innovation.
Harmon said that he feels all 3 candidates would be a fine fit for the job, and the board will make their final decision on Tuesday. Harmon also said that with the building in great shape and a great staff and student body, whoever is chosen as the new superintendent should have no problems adapting quickly, and they're looking forward to getting them on board.
Thunder Bay Winery will be hosting their first ever Harvest Festival this weekend. From noon to 4 on Saturday, community members are welcome to stop by and check it out. The festival will take place not only inside the winery, but also behind the building. Owner and winemaker Jeremy Saar says the festival will focus on the process of winemaking and the wine itself. Saar says they'll also have some hands-on activities for community members to enjoy.
Grape crushing, going to be pressing some grapes for juice samples for anyone that's interested. Going to have some grape stomping available. People want to get right in there and then stomp on the grapes. We're also going to have some help from the art gallery upstairs, Art in the Loft. They're going to do some art activities for people and with children.
Saar hopes to have a good turnout this weekend and says he'd like to make it an annual tradition.
And as always, remember that you can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And we'll check in with meteorologist Adam Claybon for the weather forecast when we come back.
Plus, what if you had the chance to buy a $5 plane ticket? We'll tell you which airline was accidentally selling $5 tickets for some time. That story when we return.
Welcome back, everyone. In our state news for the evening, we've been updating you on the events following the tragedy of Officer Butterfield, who was shot and killed in the line of duty on Monday. Now, suspect Eric Nye's family is saying they have been begging for 2 years now to get Eric help. And now 2 families' hearts are left broken. The family of 19-year-old Eric Nye is still reeling at the news. His aunt says she is torn with the whole incident and feels for both her and the Butterfield family. She says she's still torn and baffled at the fact that this could have been all prevented. While his aunt grieves for her nephew and Butterfield, Eric's wife Sarah choked back tears in a Mason County courtroom as well, as she faces thousands of dollars in fines and a suspended license for her role in the crime. Prosecutors say that more charges for the couple may lie ahead.
And now it's time for some of today's top financial stories with your Money Watch. Americans bought more cars, furniture, and electronics last month, but they held back spending on nearly everything else. Overall, the Commerce Department says retail sales rose just 0.2% in August. Retailers hope that doesn't signal a slowdown in spending as we near the all-important holiday shopping season.
Dozens of JetBlue Airway flights were delayed this morning after a computer glitch limited the airline's ability to dispatch planes. The system was restored by 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, but the airline says the delays were persistent throughout the day. Yesterday, a technical problem had United Airlines accidentally selling tickets online for as little as $5. Wow, that's amazing. United briefly stopped taking flight reservations until it was able to be resolved.
And singer Wayne Newton's former estate is up for sale, and it can be yours if you have $70 million. Newton sold the Las Vegas property 3 years ago for nearly $20 million. A group of investors currently own the estate, which includes 5 homes, a 14-car garage, and horse stables.
And there's much more to come here on WBKB News. Travis Kozik and Shannon McGrattan will be in with the latest in sports. But first, Adam Claybon will return for your full weather forecast. Don't move. Thanks for joining us here tonight, everybody. Just in time for Chief Meteorologist Adam Claybon's full weather forecast. Adam?
Okay, let's go ahead and look at what happened yesterday. First, 4-hour temperatures. That's a very cool day today. We actually had highs in the upper 60s, 69 degrees in Alpena, and that was coming from a low of 51 degrees. Both of those numbers right around average. Today, we were a little farther below, seeing mostly the 50s all across the region. 56 in Atlanta, 57 in Harrisville, 58 degrees in Oscoda, 57 here in Alpena, and 53 degrees for your high temperature in Rogers City. Current temperatures outside are in the lower 50s and the upper 40s, 48 in Gaylord, 51 in Alpena, seeing more of the 50s and the 40s in the UP, while seeing the upper 50s down south. And for our current winds outside, still a little breezy at 15 miles per hour in Oscoda, 6 miles per hour in Pellston, 13 in Traverse City. They will begin to die off, and actually by late tomorrow or just by early tomorrow, expect them to start to come from a more of a southwesterly direction. That's why we are expecting temperatures to make their way on upward, and also we'll see mostly sunny skies, so that will be also another thing that really helps out with the temps. But frost advisories are in effect from late tonight until early tomorrow morning, and we'll see the next system start to bring us a little more of that warmth. But also rain chances and clouds by our Sunday's forecast, expecting a decent amount of rain as it pushes through also. And average temperatures going into next week, not expecting really big cold fronts to push through and kind of keep on pressing us down for our temperatures. We'll continue to see those things, or see temperatures right around average. Watches and warnings, which I was just discussing, are in effect, and we're going to go ahead and look at what's happening. All of these are from 2 a.m. tonight until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see right along the coast, we're seeing the frost advisories, and more farther inland, that's where you have the freeze warnings. And the only difference between these is that if you go farther inland, temperatures will be cold enough to actually kill crops. It's more likely than it will be right along the coast. So expecting very freezing temperatures throughout the regions more inland, a little longer than we are right by the coast. But as we go ahead and see what's happening with our forecast, we're expecting an area of high pressure to keep us clear. We'll expect more of that warmer air to push on towards our region, but mostly sunny skies for tomorrow. Very nice here in northeastern Michigan if you are going to be heading outside, but make sure to have a jacket if you're heading out a little early. And by the time we head into next week, we're expecting that the jet stream does start to push back up. We'll still be on the cool side, but mostly sunny skies will return after that system on Sunday, and temperatures should start to push their way closer to the 70s and maybe even the middle 70s by later next week. But as we look at what will be happening with your beach and boating forecast, heading out tomorrow, it'll be a nice day for us. Winds will be light. We'll have those mostly sunny skies. Waves less than a foot, and temperatures right around 67 degrees for your air temperatures. And as we look on Sunday's forecast, probably less likely that you're going to be able to get out there. West-southwest winds at 10 knots. Waves less than a foot. Temperatures at 62 degrees, as we'll have all the cloud coverage and also the rain showers in effect. But Futurecast is showing mostly clear skies. We'll keep the sun around for the time being, but here comes that next system from the north, and we'll be building on the clouds later tomorrow night, and then by Sunday, that's when the rain does finally make its way in. But this system also will have a cold front associated with it, and that will give us a reinforcing shot of that cold air for Monday. But for tonight, 32 degrees, very cold outside. If you are going to try to save the plants, make sure to cover them while you are going out. Tomorrow's forecast, sunny and less windy, southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour, highs in the upper 70s, or in the upper 60s, sorry, 67 right along the coast, pretty uniform, and 68 in Mile. And for your tomorrow night's forecast, clouds approach, southwest winds at 5 miles per hour, falling down in the 50s and the 40s. Our day planner, upper 60s for a high, and our extended outlook, rain on Sunday, but other than that, the forecast looks dry. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to your Pets of the Week segment. And first off, we'll start off with Maple, and you'll see a trend between our animals this week. Very hyper and energetic little balls of fun. And Maple, well, he's a male. He is a tabby. He is 5 months old, so just a little kitten and very curious, as you can tell right there. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next animal. Very hyper also. Wait for it. There we go. Her name is Sheriff. She is a 4 and about a month old retriever mix. She's a female, and she has that nice chocolate color. Very energetic, very fun to play with. Just have a place for her to run all around. So if you would like to contact the Huron Humane Society about adopting these animals, please call 989-356-4794.
Well, thank you very much, Adam. Weren't those the cutest little
They
animals?
were.
Aww.
The kitten.
Well, now it's time for today's photo of the day. Today's photo was sent in by Joanne Smith of Grand Lake. Joanne sends us this photo that she took early this morning of a deer in Duck Park before her stroll downtown. Joanne says the deer stared at her for 10 minutes before it ran off into the woods, and looky there, it looks like you have a little friend now. Thank you for sharing that with us, and if you have a photo that you would like to send us, please email a photo along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com.
Now for some of today's top medical stories with your Health Watch. A new study from the American Heart Association finds obese children are 4 times more likely to develop high blood pressure as adults. Researchers tracked more than 1,000 adolescents for 27 years. The more overweight a child was, the higher the risk for high blood pressure later in life.
A spice found in many Mexican dishes may also be purifying water. In a small study, scientists in Mexico found cilantro can absorb lead and other heavy metals from contaminated waters. Current filtration methods can be expensive, and researchers believe that filters packed with cilantro may present an inexpensive way to clean water in developing countries. And switching gears into our national news this evening, rescue efforts continue in Colorado, where 2 days of heavy rains and flooding have left at least 4 people dead.
The National Guard is now airlifting residents left stranded by washed out roads and mudslides. And more rain is in the forecast. CBS's Adriana Diaz is in Boulder, Colorado.
A National Guard helicopter carries residents of Jamestown, Colorado to safety after floodwater swamped their town and cut off all roads in and out.
Nobody could ever imagine anything like this. The devastation over there is immense.
Sylvia and Jerry Wellner say their neighbor was killed by a mudslide.
Part of a cliff broke away and knocked the house over, killed someone.
From the air, it's hard to make out much dry land in Lyons, which was also cut off by floods and damaged roads.
The operation to evacuate the town of Lyons will continue throughout the day and could result in as many as 2,500 people being transported out of that community.
Half a year's worth of rain fell in just a few days, creating powerful torrents of muddy water. What couldn't move out of the way was flooded or swept along downstream.
It's not just the roads that were washed away here. Power and water lines were also badly damaged. Officials say it could be days before they know the extent of the devastation and the number of casualties.
For now, helicopters and boats are being used to rescue stranded residents. Once everyone's been accounted for, county and state officials will start tallying the damage and figuring out how to begin rebuilding. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Boulder, Colorado.
Coming up next on WBKB News at 11, Travis Kozik and Shannon McGrattan will be in to recap all of tonight's local high school football action.
Things are starting to heat up on the high school football fields around Northeast Michigan, and we'll catch you up on all of things happening in Week 3 action.
That's right. We've got a lot of games to get you to, including highlights from a battle of 2 unbeatens in the North Star League tonight. Don't go anywhere. The Fifth Down is next.
Well, thank you, Adam. And moving into our final story of the night, the Green Bay Packers are encouraging fans to bring a big appetite when visiting Lambeau Field. The team is offering up several new food items on the Lambeau concessions menu. The lineup includes pork belly skewers and 2 new flavors of pack and cheese, jalapeno popper, and buffalo chicken. And of course, save a little room for the player-themed burgers, the Aaron Rodgers or the Jordy Nelson burgers, all at Curly's Pub. I think that's very creative. As a football fan, I would really...
Ooh, I wouldn't mind trying an Aaron Rodgers burger. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I wish it said more because I wanted to see like what was on them, but I think that's very interesting.
Worth a trip to Lambeau Field.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? All right.
And remember, you can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on more news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
Or add us on Facebook at facebook.com/WBKBTV.
And that'll do it for our show here tonight, but be sure to catch Ashley Reed back here tomorrow night, as she'll be our lead anchor now on Saturday and Sunday nights at 11. Thanks for stopping by.